What's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is going to be part 1 of my 4-part handstand series. It's going to be a 4-episode series just breaking down the fundamentals of your handstands, and on the very last episode we're going to loop it all together to get your eventual freestanding handstands. So today we're going to be going over just your overall activation as well as your core exercises in order to prepare yourself for your freestanding handstand. So first things first, we're just going to warm up our upper body a little bit. We're going to start with 10 arm circles to the back. So nice and big for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're gonna go forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna move to our elbows. So just 10 circles to the back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then last but not least, our wrists, just doing either milkshakes or we can do some roller coasters. This one's not super timed, just kind of getting it until your wrists kind of get all the cracks and different feelings out of them so that way they don't hurt when you go upside down. Good. All right, so now we're gonna move down into some floor stretches. These ones are the go-to ones I go for my wrists. A lot of the time I get asked, how do I avoid wrist pain? What kind of stretches do I do before my handstand practice? And this is my go-to routine. So you're gonna hold the front position, just leaning forward on your wrist for about 10 seconds. And then we're gonna simply flip them. We wanna go to the opposite direction because we do spend a lot of our times in this position, so just to stretch out the other side. A lot of the times our forearms get super tight, so just being able to do this in between your handstand practice as well is super helpful. We're then gonna flip our hands so that the base of our hands are facing each other, and we're just gonna rock back and forth. So for about 5 times. So that's 3, 4, and 5. This one's my personal favorite and one that I definitely suggest you do. This just helps bulletproof your wrists. You're gonna start with your palms facing you. We're gonna pop up to a fist and then back down. Up to a fist and back down. The amount of weight that you put in your hands is completely up to you. If you want to be a little bit more lean back and very little weight just at the beginning, totally cool. As you get stronger and more used to it, you can put more weight on so that way when you stack into that stacked position, it's nice and strong. We're doing the same thing now with the fingertips facing you and then just rolling up. All right, so now that our wrists are all warmed up, one thing that we really wanna focus on is our lats. That's gonna be a lot of our overhead mobility. So if you go into your handstand and you find your hands have to either be too wide or that you're closed shoulders, make sure you stretch out your lats. So the first one I'm gonna do is just a child's pose. So we're gonna crawl our hands out, head goes down to the ground. We're gonna hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. To get an emphasis on one side more than the other, we're just gonna walk our hands over to the right to stretch out our left lat, holding it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same thing now, just walking over to the right, or sorry, your left. And you're gonna head down and hold it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Next one that we're gonna do is just an overhead stretch. We're gonna be facing sideways just so you guys get an idea of what my shoulders and back are looking like. We're just gonna head all the way up, nice big stretch, looking at our hands, and then bringing it down. Over, up, and then back down. I do suggest recording yourself for this one because if you notice that you arch your back or your hands go too wide, you can kind of get a good sense of your overhead mobility. Big deep breath as you stretch up and then back down. Last one, and then down. So now that our upper body is relatively warmed up, we wanna move on to our lower body. A big mistake that I see with a lot of people is they focus on just the upper body because they figure, oh, I'm upside down, I don't need to worry about my legs. Absolutely not. We wanna make sure that we're stretching out our hamstrings a ton. This is gonna make your overall kick up to your handstand a lot easier, and if you do have tight hamstrings, it's gonna be a big limiting factor. So the first one we're gonna do is very simple. We're gonna flex our left leg, right leg's gonna be bent in, just around the knee/thigh. We're gonna walk our hands forward and we're gonna stretch. A lot of people have asked why I flex my foot instead of pointing it. Pointing it is more just for aesthetics. So if you're trying to learn how to have a pointed foot in your skills, definitely stretch with a pointed foot. But if you're trying to increase mobility, you want to have a flex foot. So that way you get all the way through your calf as well as your hamstring, just a little bit more. So after we've held this one, that was around like 20-ish seconds, we're gonna switch sides, other foot, reaching forward, and we're gonna hold it. Ideally, you wanna reach past your foot. If you can't get to your foot, you're gonna reach to your shin. You will notice one side might be tighter than the other. That's completely normal. We all have one good side and one bad side. After you've done that, we're gonna open up into a straddle sit. This one, again, we wanna have flexed feet, knees facing the ceiling, making sure that we keep our hips externally rotated, and we're just gonna slowly crawl forward, going down as far as you can. If you start to round your back too much, stop, that's your point for now, until you can get a nice neutral spine and walk a little further. Again, we don't want our toes to turn in, always have external rotation. So we're gonna hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, so now that we're all stretched, we'll move into our core activation. So moving on, next we're gonna do our core activation. This one's super important in terms of getting a straight alignment in your handstand. So let's first start with one of my favorites, a hollow body hold. This one is one of those ones where you shake and you kind of feel funny. So if I do shake, that is why. You're gonna have to start with your feet together. Ideally, I wanna see ankles together, legs together, nice, tight, and squeezing. We're gonna head back. We're gonna make sure our low back is nice and flat, legs are up, arms are right by our ears. We're gonna hold for 10 seconds. Depending on the difficulty, if you do need to modify, you can bend your knees a little bit, just holding there. We'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Depending how difficult that feels, you can move on and do 30 seconds. Today we're only doing 10, but by all means, as you get stronger, you can go upwards of 60 seconds. Next, we're gonna roll onto our tummy. We're gonna do a Superman position, so same idea, legs have to stay together, not apart. We're gonna have our arms by our ears, head down, and we're gonna go up, lifting everything nice and strong, holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The reason why I like these two exercises is just because it strengthens both our front of our core as well as the back of our core, and it teaches us to be squeezing our legs together and our glutes nice and tight, which is essential in a handstand. Moving on, next we're gonna do a plank. Everyone's familiar with this one. This plank is gonna be a little bit different than our normal ones. We're gonna have our shoulders stacked over our elbows. We're gonna try to round our upper back as much as we can. Bum stays flat, feet together. We're gonna hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If that is too hard, you can always do it from a high plank. Again, we really want to emphasize a nice rounded upper back, straight arms, squeezing our glutes and our legs to hold. So depending on your difficulty level, you can modify each position. For hollow body holds, it's a bent leg. For planks, it's just going up onto your hands. The last exercise that we're gonna do for core activation is just getting familiar with our pelvic floor. A lot of the times when we're in our handstand, you'll see either a pike or like a super bendy banana back. This is just lack of awareness in your core. We're gonna lie down super quick. So the big key element is when you're in your handstand, you don't wanna have an arch at all. You wanna push your low back into the floor, squeeze it nice and tight, feeling contact with the ground the entire time. Go into an arch so you feel the difference, and then back again flat. Squeezing belly button to spine, and then back into an arch. So we'll do this for 5, so we'll do 2 more. Squeezing, and then back up. So the key element here is just feeling the difference of what your pelvis feels like as it's tilting. Good. All right, so the good thing about core drills is that they're not on your hands. So these are really good ones to add into your routine or conditioning to just give yourself a little bit of a break from being on your hands, say for your entire 1-hour practice of handstands or even 30 minutes. Especially as a beginner, you wanna make sure that you're giving wrists a lot of time to just slowly build up to muscle endurance of being on them for so long. So that is it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you do, like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for episode number 2.